Okay, let's call the meeting to order at, well, this is saying 5:59, but we'll say it's 6.
Okay.
All right, review and revision of agenda.
Could we move the principal's report? I guess we're fine. We just need to get the principal out of here by 6:30.
Yeah, so then let's just, if nobody has anything else, let's move on to minutes and correspondence, although we do have a lot of minutes. Carolyn, do you want to speak to this?
Yes. So we can go through this pretty quickly, but I did spend quite a bit of time reviewing the minutes, and I've been in contact with Meg Wright. And so there are a number listed that we have to go through. So on February 4th, 2019, for some reason, they never got approved. And that was when Beth and I were on the board, Beth and Antje. So I'll move approval of the minutes for February 4th, 2019.
Okay, can I get a second?
Well, you got to second it because Russ wasn't there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'll second it.
Okay.
All those in favor, or I'm sorry, any discussion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Great, so this,
Next on the list, what's that?
Russ is not voting because I wasn't there.
Right, exactly. You'll get your chance, Russ. There's one coming up where you and Beth were on. So on March 9th of 2020, there was no, Meg didn't get the message that those had been approved, but they were approved on March 25th. So I've been in communication with her, and we'll just say that, just to make it clear, that those were approved on March 25th. And to accomplish all this, I had to skip around with the minutes just to double check that they had been, so they were. On March 16th, 2020, that was Russ and Beth, and they were not approved. So you guys can make the motions.
I'll make a motion to be approved.
okay. I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye, thank you. Okay?
All right, on May 4th, they were actually approved on June 8th. So I'm going to let Meg know that they were approved. In fact, I've let her know already. I just want to verify with everybody that this is what happened. On January 4th, 2021, Beth, well, on February 2nd, let's put it this way, those were minutes that hadn't been approved. On February 2nd, Beth moved approval. I asked for some corrections, which were included, but we never actually had the vote, or at least it wasn't recorded if we did. So I would make a motion that we approve the minutes for January 4th, 2021.
I'll second it.
All right. Great, I moved them, Russ seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.
March 8th, 2021, that was the reorg meeting, and somehow it just slipped through the cracks. It never got approved. So I would move approval of the minutes for March 8th, 2021.
I'll second it.
Second it.
All right, Russ, go ahead. Russ seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
On 10/26, we did not approve those in November, and I did read through them last night. The only change, Peter, you're so good. The only change I saw was that in the call to order, Mike McLean's last name didn't have the E on it, but in other places it did, and it does have an E. So I would move approval of the minutes with that one small picayune change.
I'll second.
Noted.
Thank you, Peter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And finally, on December 21st, 2021, which brings us to be current. Peter, these are, again, small picayune changes. Under members of the public, it's Howard Iris, Howard, rather than Hoard. And I believe Sarah Edelman's first name has an H on the end. So it's Sarah. And then under bills and pay orders, there was something about, it should be mailing, but it came out as ailing. So spell check didn't catch it. So just add an M on mailing. So I would move approval of those minutes with those changes. Oh, one more. On page 6, there's reference to the Gail Lyman food shelf. It's actually Gail Wyman, Wyman.
Great, I'll second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Great, thank you.
That brings us to be current.
Awesome. Thank you very much for doing that. So that's it for minutes and correspondence. We'll move on to bills. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I did not send them to Carolyn and Russ. So I have bills and pay orders for 18 through 23. The first 5 are payroll. Number 23, I think we all saw that in an email, but I can show it to Peter. They were for $9,787.95. Alliance for boiler cleaning, BCTV, C. Webster, which we found out, sorry I spelled that wrong, for counseling services. Mickey, is that accurate?
Yep.
Door Septic, First Light Fiber, iSun, Retruck Service, S1 Relief for being compensated, and VE Health and the WCSU. If you're not I'm sorry, I didn't send it. I've been outside all day. If you're not comfortable with 23, we could just approve 18 through 22, which is just payroll, and I could send you 23 unless each of you received it.
I did not receive it, but I feel comfortable approving 18 through 23. I don't know how Russ feels about that.
I keep trying to screenshot that, but it keeps moving.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna stay still.
Okay, zooming in.
Zoom it right in there. Now, Beth, make a noise so you become focused.
Make a noise?
Yeah, same.
Yes,
Hello.
there you go. Gotcha.
You got it? Okay. Yes, 23 was nothing out of the ordinary except that I spelled counseling wrong for C. Webster.
And just so you know, all the stuff is in the other room from the mailbox, but the mailbox was hit with the plow and it all fell into the snow and got soaked and it's drying out in the other room, so it's all there, wrinkly and crinkled.
So more pay orders, you mean?
Look at the checks and the bills, the whole thing that gets sent
Okay.
out. So it's all in there, and we could just send it over to town.
Okay,
office,
I'll address
it's
that
there
later.
for-
Yeah. Our mailbox got hit at the farm too. Okay, if you're both okay with 18 through 23, I'll take a motion on that.
So I did sort of make a motion to approve pay orders 18 through 23.
I'll second it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, that's it.
Russ has a question though.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Where is the billing for the mailing of the ballots for the last 2 elections that we had?
I forwarded that to the town treasurer. It's my understanding that they have it. It just hasn't gone out yet. I can resubmit that request.
So it's not included in 18 to 23.
No, it is not.
All right, thank you.
Unless I'm reading my email wrong. Hold on one second, Russ. Let me just look back at 23 and make sure I didn't miss something.
While Beth checks that, could iPhone identify themselves so I could change you for the screen in the minutes?
Michael Pelton.
Thank you, sir.
No, Russ, in pay order 23, I don't see anything for for that. So, but I will resubmit that question again to the town treasurer. Thank you for bringing it up. Okay, so if everybody's okay, we can move on to principal's report.
This is great. I got the whole space in this. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us out there in Zoom land. It was pointed out to me last time that I was going super fast, and some people had a hard time following along, so I will do my best to take it down a notch. This month began the winter benchmark testing for all students in the supervisory union. Students are assessed in various ways with various programs in both math and the language arts. Some assessments that are used are the Ames Web, the QPS, otherwise known as the Quick Phonics Screener, the PNOA, which is the Primary Numbers and Operations Assessment, and the PAR, Predictive Assessment of Reading. Each of these assessments brings relevant data that will help us to plan for the next 6 weeks of intervention based on the results. At that point, the staff will meet to discuss potential plans needed to address any lacking skill areas based on the data. Report card day is January 25th. Sarah and Mr. PJ will be here that day working on entering scores for the report cards and typing up comments to summarize the first half of the year for each student. This month began the winter sports programs at all the supervisory schools. We have 2 offerings this year for students to participate. The first is the typical GISP Junior Instructional Ski Program that involves about half of our students going to Stratton Mountain to ski or snowboard. The other option is going to the Edgar May Center in Springfield for swimming lessons and free swim time. A third option has been discussed and hopefully will be available, and that would be cross-country skiing here at the school with Sally. The past 2 Wednesdays, we've been fortunate to have members of the district-wide AST academic support team here at school to help with the winter benchmark assessments. Both Melissa Wood and Kelsey Taddy were super helpful in modeling, working with students, gathering data, and providing support for both Sarah and Mr. PJ. After experiencing our school for the first time for just a few hours, I received this email from Melissa Wood, which she said she was happy to have me share with you all. She said, quote, "Your school is lovely. I would love to have my kids there versus Hinsdale. Can you believe how amazing your students are to just easily go test with 2 teachers they have never met and carry themselves so well and try their best. Amazing. Your school is a beautiful place. It is obvious how loved those children feel, and the atmosphere at your school leads to confident children." Similar sentiment was also conveyed by Kelsey to me verbally. It is not surprising to me to get this type of feedback, as it is almost every educational professional that comes here feels this way once they have experienced some time in our school. As part of her licensing process, Sarah has to take the Praxis 1 and Praxis 2 exams to be eligible for a full-time teaching license. Last month, she took the Praxis 1 and passed, so now it is on to Praxis 2. Julian Leon from Vermont Energy Education Program, VEEP, was here again last week working with students on some more hands-on energy-related science lessons. He used the Wind Energy Science Kit that Mr. PJ had obtained from VEEP earlier in the year. Some of the hands-on activities involved using a pinwheel to test for the most efficient design, designing a solution to push a wind sail car, and making a model to illustrate how the design meets the needs of others. On Monday, January 24th, Boler, Mr. PJ will attend professional development for the day on Keys to Literacy, which is the language arts program used by the supervisory union. We did get to have our first sledding experience out at recess before the holiday break. Unfortunately, there was not much snow, and we did break a few sleds. Today, however, we did use them again with more snow, and it was great. Thank you for all of you that helped to purchase those sleds for the students. Septic system was pumped earlier this month, so we're all set for that for a few more years, which is great, because that's not a wonderful experience. The kindness campaign continued here at school on Friday, January 7th, with the making of tie-dye shirts with positive words or phrases on them. This room was filled with kids and colors, the floor, plastic. It was awesome, super fun. Thank you to the parents that were involved in that. To this point in the winter, the furnace is functioning well, with Cord keeping a close eye on things and able to monitor the system from home. We have been warm and comfy. Thank you, Cord. As you heard me mention at a previous board meeting, our students participated in the Vermont Agency of Transportation Plow naming project. Amazingly, out of 160 Plow names, a top 10 list was created in Vermont Ski and Ride magazine, which I hold here in my hands. And the Windham school name of slip sliding safety service made the top 10 list out of 160 names in the state. And so they've got our name on page 21 where it says name that plow. You probably can't see it, but that's okay, you get the idea. It's Vermont Ski and Ride magazine. So very cool for the kids to be able to see that. Lots of good, positive press for the Windham School.
Wow.
And that is
Very
it.
nice.
Well done, Windham students.
You got a question?
And yes, Michael. Michael Pelton.
I'm sorry, I stepped away for a moment.
That's okay. Would you like to ask a question?
Oh, my wife is attempting to get on. If anybody could help her with that, she'd be greatly appreciative. Thank you.
Great, that's an easy request.
Done. Crystal.
So the number one name on that list was really kind of clever. It was Snowby Gone Kenobi, which I thought was pretty clever. Crystal, you have a question or comment?
Not so much question or comment about Mickey's report, and I'm not sure if he's actually done. But I am wondering, I guess this is more for Bill, but it will involve Mickey, with the new guidance about the masks and that they don't work, that the KN95s work. Are we going to be moving to have all of our teachers in these masks and the students?
That'll be part of my report. So if Mickey's done, I'll dive on in, but I just want to give him an opportunity to finish what he's doing.
And just to further elaborate on that, I will be leaving shortly. I have requested to get out early to go watch my son play basketball down at Leland and Gray. 3 of the last 4 games have been canceled because of the virus and all the chaos. So I'm trying to take advantage of any opportunity I get to see him play. He's been nominated twice for Athlete of the Week because he loves basketball so much. So I appreciate the board and superintendent allowing me to leave early to go be in attendance in person for that game. So thank you, both of you.
Absolutely. Your kids come first. And then our kids here come second. Okay, any questions, any other questions for Mickey? I have to say, if anybody can get this Vermont skiing ride, it's absolutely amazing, some of these names. So that gives me a really great big smile. Darth Blader is one. William Scrapespear is another. Okay, great. Anyway, it's slip sliding safety service.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, that's awesome. Okay. That's awesome, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay, no hands for Mickey. Thank you, Mickey.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, Bill, you're up.
Sure. So, Crystal, thanks for the lead in. We received some new guidance from the state. A letter was sent out home either Thursday afternoon or Friday last week. We should expect another one to come later this week as we're getting more and more details. In a nutshell, the Test to Stay program, which has not actually ever had to be implemented at Windham, but has at every other elementary school, will now become Test at Home. We are awaiting a delivery from the Agency of Education, which are the rapid antigen tests in packets of 2, and those will be handed out via our nurse or nurse designee, depending on if the nurse is on site during that day, for any students and or teachers that are deemed a close contact following a positive case within the school community. So what's happening at other schools is parents are arriving to school early, they are waiting in line, they are getting their kids tested right at school for a rapid antigen test, they wait 15 minutes. If the test is negative, the kid goes into school. If it is positive, then they go home and they repeat the cycle for 5 days. In the Test at Home program, the parents will be given the tests, and the parents will be testing their students if they are asked to do so by the nurse, and they will come to school if they are negative, and they will stay at home if they are positive. Abby Pelton.
Hello. So with the change to that, I mean, I get it, because I can only imagine the parents at the places that had to do the test to stay with children like some that we have, that if they see a Q-tip now, go running for the hills. I've heard in other districts where they are, if a child is unable to do the rapid test, that they, clearly have to stay out of school for the amount of time, but that students are starting to get, especially at the higher grade levels, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not allowed to, they're losing school credit, and they're getting dinged for not being in school. Is that a concern that we would have to look at? Because that would be very concerning for our family, given that the testing is quite a challenge.
We have not experienced that yet, and I don't make any predictions during the COVID pandemic. I learned my lesson 20 months ago.
Smart.
But as challenges evolve, we will absolutely address them. But we have not seen any evidence of that being a challenge yet.
Excellent, thank you. And if those challenges do arise, I would love to see innovation around people figuring out how to do either remote or something, as opposed to making the kids get zinged for missing school. That's a real hard place to put parents. So, all right, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. The other big part to answer Crystal's question is recommendation for higher quality masks. I don't know if you can't really see me, but I broke my mask on the way in, so I'm wearing my secondary mask. We have purchased 10,000 masks, the N95s that we will have available at schools. They are not required. And they will be in every school by the end of this week. And they will be available for students and anybody who works in a school. So if that is something that somebody would like to have, we will have enough on hand, meet at least for the next 33 days, if not more. So that is something that we will provide. We will see how people want them. If they want them, we will keep giving them to them. Abby Pelton.
Sorry. So did do they have, like, are they kid-sized N95s?
I don't know until I get them. We are hoping that they come in different sizes, but we've heard that sometimes they all come in the exact same size. So if that's the case, then we'll probably have to reorder specifically for kids, and they won't be here by next Friday. But one way or another, we are going to make them available for anyone who wants them.
And just one of the challenges that I've run into as an adult with the N95s and things that get kind of provided and how they're coming in, they might not fit very well. So depending on the type of mask that people are used to wearing, I've found, I know it sounds crazy, but double masking actually holds the N95 in place. So just if people run into those challenges with their kiddos or the mask is seeming weird, if it's comfortable for them, it might be more comfortable to double mask, just to throw that out there. So thank you.
Carolyn.
I would just contribute to this conversation. I had to wear an N95 all day today for the first time. And I recommend the kind that go around your ears. I had both the kind that had straps behind. Hopefully you got the kind that go behind the ears, because then the kids can also, my grandchildren are really good at adapting them. You can twist the things and then wrap them around your ears to take up the slack, stuff like that. So you can get inventive with this. But hopefully they're gonna work.
Miss Mariner.
Hi. I would really caution that before we have children wearing N95s, we really get some good research. I think that we'll find that they're really not getting enough oxygen. They're never meant to be worn for more than a very, very short period. So I really hope we do not do this, especially without getting some serious research.
Miss Corview.
So I think you're not done with your report yet, but I'm just gonna get my question, more of a comment, out of the way. I won't have my children in the N95. Like, I guess my question is are there any talks of when we're getting out of masks? I mean, because a lot of this research from the CDC says these masks aren't even helping. So I get a lot of people are still concerned, but like, I'm done with COVID, just done. We've all gotten vaccinated. We've all gotten boosted. I guess my question is when will there be talks of getting the kids and the teachers out of these masks? Because I'm glad to hear it's a choice, because I'm also not thrilled to have Mickey and Sarah in the N95.
The latest guidance has set a date of February 28th for masking to either be discontinued or to be revisited. February 28th.
Great.
Thanks God.
Thank you, Crystal, for posing that question, and everybody else for your contributions. Do you have more?
Just a reminder that the West River Education District board seat, which Mr. Howard Ayers currently was elected to, will be on the Windham town ballot. And if you are interested, you do not have to get signatures. You just have to complete a affidavit of consent to have your name on the ballot, and you can get that at the Windham town clerk. The current deadline is January 24th, but the Windham Select Board has requested an extension on that, but as of tonight, it is the 24th of January.
Okay.
That's what I got for you.
Any questions for the superintendent? Looks like Abby Pelton, you have a hand up.
So I write lots of affidavits, and it's probably protocol for my department, but does it require being notarized?
No, it's just a consent that you sign.
So there's a already printed up one that you just go in, sign, and you're good.
That is my understanding. And please let me know if I'm wrong, but that is my understanding.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Any other questions for the superintendent? Okay, hearing none, we're going to go on to old business. Boiler discussion. Is Mr. Frost on?
He is not. He sent you guys
He did send us update by Alliance. It sounds like maybe we're looking at some cost savings. Russ or Carolyn, would you like to speak to that?
I have nothing exactly. I am willing to trust Greg's judgment on this. But I'm also wondering if Russ had suggested that we get some other bids or estimates, and I'm just wondering if we want to continue with that plan to get more estimates.
I know in Greg's email he said he has not. So Russ, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I just was able to unmute my microphone. No, I think the bid is very appropriate. There are two issues that I have. One is the new pump that he's specifying. There are two stages to the pump. There's a dual stage and a variable stage, and I'm assuming he's going to be getting the variable stage pump, which is hooked into the heating system so that as it calls for more heat, it increases the circulation rate. And the other thing that I'm looking at is there's no gas sniffer in the boiler room. And when you have a propane furnace like that, two of them particularly, you have a lot of joints, and it would be a very safe thing to have a gas sniffer in the boiler room. It was required in Connecticut where we put a furnace in a church, which was a public building. So we needed to have a gas sniffer. And I'm just wondering if Vermont statutes require that.
Okay, that's a great observation. So I would say that at this point, we're not ready to make a decision, but we've all seen the new proposal from Alliance, but I think that's another important question to put to Greg. So can we then further this conversation at our February meeting? Does that sound okay with everybody?
That sounds good to me.
Okay, I know we really need to come down on something relatively soon, but that's a great question, Russ. So I'd like to ask Greg about that, and maybe just give him one more opportunity just to hopefully maybe he can come to the February meeting. Okay, I know he sent a great report to the Windham News and Notes for everybody to see. So I'd say we have one more month to make this decision. So anybody that's interested, please weigh in. But at the February meeting, we will, I hope, be hammering this out. So I will reach out to Greg about the gas sniffer, Russ, and anything else anybody can think of in the meantime. Please feel free to either let me, Carolyn, Russ know, or Greg Frost. But yeah, let's look to make this decision in February because this has been going on for a while.
I believe there was an issue with the existing propane tank that feeds the generator.
Okay.
It needs to be put onto a concrete pad. And I think that whoever the supplier is, we should probably, look at getting maybe one larger tank or just one dedicated tank for the school for heating. I'm not sure how they want to do that.
Okay, so concrete pad okay, that's great. I'll add that to my question to him. Excellent. Okay, unless there's anything else about the boiler, seeing none. Let's move on to the budget discussion. Is Laurie on?
Hi.
Hi.
I am.
Okay.
So I sent you all an updated budget. Really not a lot has changed from the last time that we all met on 12/21. I did increase the line item for BCTV under communications in the board area of the budget. Other than that, back at the 12/21 to recap, we did remove the food program and we reduced the sorry, I grabbed my notes here. We reduced the capital and bus transfer to basically half of what it was. We also removed world language. So as it stands now, this is the budget in front of you. We did get equalized pupils. We have, of course, the yield. We had that last time. And we have the CLA. CLA for Windham is the big news here because there was quite a drop in the CLA due to the housing market. And, based on the CLA, the tax rate, and based on the expenses, your tax rate is estimated at $2.01, which is 37 cents over last year, or 22.78% increase. So that is, these are the most up-to-date figures that I have at this point. Do you guys have any questions on this?
Looks like, yeah, Bridget Corby.
So the CLA you were referencing, so that dropped, so that causes our tax rate to go up?
That is correct. Yes, and hold on one second and I will tell you how much it dropped because it was quite a bit. All right, I have last year's number here. Okay, so last year's number for the CLA was 97.83, which is, you know, pretty, that had dropped from the year before. The previous year was 102, and the previous year to that, which was fiscal year 20, was 104. So you can see it's been a steady decline, but you know, this year with the housing market the way it was a very large drop. It was actually the largest drop in our SU overall from anybody's CLA.
Was it 83.74?
83.75.
And what drives that though? So that's just houses being sold, or is it the fact that does it make a difference when they're full-time residents or second homeowners?
It's based on market value of property and what a house is worth. So it doesn't have an impact on whether it's a primary residence or secondary, as far as I know. It's the tax department does this calculation across all the state. And it's supposed to basically equalize if a house in, you know, Windsor is worth $200,000, then their tax rate will be the same as a house in Windham that's worth $200,000, roughly. There's a lot of controversy over the CLA calculation, but, and it's, you know, something that you could bring to your select board to, you know, they're the only ones that can appeal this or, you know, ask for it to be looked into.
Can I add some information?
Please.
CLA is calculated on a 3-year running average. So the 3-year running average is 2018, 19, and 20. When 2021 numbers come up, we drop 18 and we add 19, 18, or 19, 20, and 21. I calculated the CLA for this current tax year and it came in at 73. So that when we add the 73 number into the existing calculation, it's going to drop even more next year. And it has to do with any completed valid sale within any town. It can be a homestead, a non-homestead, whatever it is. And we have several homes in Windham that sold for $300,000 where their assessed value was $150,000, or they sold for $750,000 where the assessed value was $400,000. So it's a continuing trend in town that real estate prices are continuing to rise. And there are 22 towns in the state that are going to have to go through reevaluation, and Windham is one of the 22.
That was helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And Russ, can I just ask a follow-up question to that? When, so you have to basically put into the state when you're going to do the appraisal. Is that in the next 3 years then?
We're gonna get a letter on the 1st of June telling us to do a reappraisal.
Okay, thanks.
I already talked to Cy Bailey and the Vermont Department of Property Review, et cetera, and we're gonna get a letter in June and we have to do it ASAP.
Okay.
Michael Peldon has his hand up.
Hi, so I guess currently we have what we have. It's the card we're being dealt. Can we put it in our thought process when we're building our budget for next year that what our calculated CLA is going to be? Clearly Russ has done the math and I'm sure the state will play with the numbers a little bit, but if we at least can use that as a ballpark to modify our budget next year, I think it would be probably beneficial. That's all I have to say.
The easiest way to modify the budget is to get 25 or 30 students in town. That'll have a greater impact than the CLA will.
Parker.
Oh, Carolyn? Go ahead, Carolyn.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and the CLA would apply to this whether we had a school or not. So so it's something that we really have to deal with soon. The question I have, Laurie, is there any reserve? You know, is there anything left over that we could buy the tax rate down with?
Yeah, that is a possibility for sure. You do have some amount of money in there. We did pay off the loan early, so that used some of that money. I guess, you know, you have to really weigh what the future looks like. I mean, you have the boiler project that's going to cost more money than you have a budget for this year. So, you know, that will put you over budget for this year. And, you know, you do want to keep some reserves in the bank for, you know, things that go wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, the board can look at doing that and make a decision on that. Currently, you have, I believe after the 20,000 that we paid down, I believe you still will have somewhere in the vicinity of 50,000. I can pull up the audit. I think I sent you all the audit, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I'm a strong supporter of having some reserve there, like 5 to 10% of the budget in reserve. But boy, I'll tell you that, you know, going from basically $1.69 to over $2 because of the CLA is daunting. But you know, if that's the way it is, then that's the way it is. But of the 50 grand, could we use, you know, 20 of it for buying down the tax rate? It's $3 per cent, right? 3,000 per cent on the tax rate, right?
Roughly, yeah. Yes, that could be something that you do. Let me see, you could make that decision and I can tell you what the tax rate would be with that additional money. Oops, sorry. Okay. All right, so by adding $20,000 of reserve, you're bringing down the tax rate to $1.95. So basically 5 cents.
Yeah.
6
Okay.
cents. So not, you know, it's not buying you a lot at this point,
Yeah.
but it is something. It does get it under the $2 range.
How much do we need for the boiler on top of what we've budgeted?
All of it, really. I don't believe there was any, you know, money in for a boiler going out. That would have been always done with reserves.
Okay.
So, and I don't think I was copied on Greg's email. So I'm not sure what that total is You guys have that in front of you, I think.
I've got 3 devices going, and frankly, I can't find it for you right now.
That's okay, I'm trying to bring up your audit.
Am I wrong in saying I felt like the number was 23,000, somewhere in that
Yeah,
range?
it was that, but then there was additional money for the controls, Beth.
Okay.
I think it was 3,500, but I could be wrong.
Russ probably has your answer. And then
Russ, go ahead.
And then Michael.
Yeah, it's 23,800 for the boiler, but the propane hookup from the propane service company is probably going to cost you $2,500 because I recently had a tank put in and had it plumbed to my house, and it cost me $2,500. So you're going to look at the boiler being probably close to $27,000 total expense.
Okay.
Oh, so good round number of 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Well, I'm not making a motion to do that. I wanted to explore it.
Okay.
I think Michael has a question.
Go ahead, Michael.
I just wanted to clarify the current budget or the current proposed budget includes setting aside money for a new bus fund and also for like an emergency repair fund or something like that, or building maintenance fund. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's not a new bus fund. It's adding to a current bus fund, which has $5,000 in it currently.
And how much are we
Thank
putting
you.
in there? Laura, oh, sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry.
That was, ooh, switching back and forth here. Let's see here. I believe it was $10,000 in total, so $5,000 a piece.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Laurie.
Mhm.
Sorry
It's
to
on
interrupt.
page 3 of your budget papers at the top.
Right, right.
It looks like Bridget Blanchard.
Oh, hey, I just wondered, when is the, aren't the ESSER funds, I don't have the sheet in front of me, but those are set to expire when of 2023?
It depends on which ESSER you're talking about. The ARP ESSER is the latest one, goes further out than that. But there is ESSER money. It can't be used on the boiler. There's a lot of rules around using it on equipment or any type of construction project, which this would fall under, and you need pre-approval to do that. So that couldn't be used for that. Mickey does have a few ideas of what to use the money on, which he and I are still discussing. So there are some projects that in the future that they could be used on, and we just need to get the right approvals in place.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Russ, you still have your hand up? Russ, you have your hand up?
Well, while he's trying to find his unmute button.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to clarify on the fund balance because I got the audit pulled up there. So basically, you know, you've paid off the loan early with 20,000 of it, and then you need to set aside 30 for the boiler. So that would leave you with a little more, around 42. So if you use 20 of that, you would have around 20 left. So
Yeah.
just as I just wanted to clarify that for you.
Thank you, Laurie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions for Laurie?
So before you leave Laurie,
Yeah, no, I'm not leaving Laurie.
Oh, okay.
Laurie, don't go anywhere.
if you guys don't warn the budget tonight,
Yeah.
you have to have another meeting.
Right.
The only question I have for Laurie is on the where is it, page 2? It's on the 1/2, what do they call it? the secretary for 1/2, is that less than a full half-time pay? Because if they go over 17 or 18 hours, they get health insurance?
It's 20 hours a week. It's a half-time position. And yes, they would be eligible for health insurance at that point. However, it would be prorated. And when you prorate, a $25,000 family plan, it doesn't usually make sense for anybody that's, less than an 80% FTE.
So what you're saying is that even though the individual might technically be eligible for health insurance, they're not going to get it.
They probably wouldn't take it. They might be eligible.
They'd have to pay the difference?
Right, because they would have to pay the difference.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
But if they but there's no indication in there that there was a health consideration of a 1/2 health insurance premium.
I did not budget for one. It's very rare that we see somebody take health insurance when they're only a 0.5 FTE.
Okay. And the only question I have is on line item 1200, special education SU assessment for the $13,188. I'm assuming that's based upon average daily membership.
Yes, it's
for our ADM versus the whole supervisory union.
We have 13.
Right. So remember the MTSS budget that was voted on by the WCSU board was based on ADM.
Why is the expenditure?
So that's 1% then of the budget. Because that's what our ADM is in relationship to the supervisory union.
Yeah, I would have to look up. It is on the SU supers budget, but we include all students in the MTSS budget because special education also applies to secondary students in all of the other districts, whereas the supers assessment is usually based only on the elementaries.
Okay.
And Leland and Gray, of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we have another question from Abby Pelton.
Hello, it's more of a comment than a question, but if anybody does vote for that position and is in need of insurance, but finds that, it's not as cost effective as they would like, I can totally help them get set up with state insurance. So if there's somebody who's stressed and needing insurance and does not have it, the state actually provides very good insurance and they would likely qualify. So thank you, appreciate it.
That's great to know, Abby.
Thank you, Abby. Go ahead, Bridget Corby.
This one might be for the board. How likely do you think it's going to be that this tax rate will pass? Have you seen it pass this high? Have you gotten pushback for this? Like, what are we looking at?
Carolyn's certainly been on the board much longer than I am, but I feel like...
Can you repeat the question? It's hard to hear what Bridget's saying.
Yeah, sorry, I'll speak up a little bit. What do you think the likeliness that this tax rate is going to pass with the budget set as it is?
I'm sorry, what do I think that, can somebody translate here?
What? Go ahead, Laurie.
How likely is this tax rate to pass?
I can't guess.
Not likely.
Thanks, Tom.
So I guess the follow-up question to that is, what can you do? What can we do to cut something to make it a little bit more manageable? Because I had reached out to the board before, and I would say it again. I really, really hope that the part-time admin position and moving Sarah to a full-time teacher isn't what gets lost in the mix, because I just think that she's doing the work of 1.5 people right now, and it would be really a shame to see her have to continue to do that, because I think we'll just burn her out. And so I think my concern is that's not going to make it through with such a high tax rate.
Well, I think one great improvement would be to bring the CLA up to at least 100%.
So Carolyn, before you talked about taking 20 grand from the reserve, is that something you want to look into?
At this point, I probably wouldn't do that, because it sounds like if we do the boiler and some of the other things we've talked about, that we would have $20,000 left for reserve. Is that right, Laurie?
If you
Yeah.
use 20,000 to buy
Yeah.
down the tax rate. Mhm.
So that would be about 5%, a little less than 5% of the budget. And I think it just makes sense. You know, I think people need to mute themselves if they're not speaking. I think I hear Boston barking. But I mean, there may be things, I mean, Laurie, is there anything here that's not mandatory that we could potentially fundraise for, that's included in this budget?
Well, I'm not sure, about fundraising. I think that you could put off the transfer to capital and bus reserve. You've had to do that in the past, in past budgets. You could reduce that. Really, we've taken out the food service. There really isn't a lot of fluff in this budget at all. I mean, it is like every year, you've done a really great job at at really keeping things tight. I think that music, right, Bill, that's another area that could be reduced without an issue.
How much is music in there for?
10,000.
Yeah. You have music, you have capital, transfer. I don't see anything that is jumping out at me that's going to make any dent in the tax rate.
Right.
I mean, just for, what does $10,000 do?
3 cents, 3.5 cents.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it does bring it down below $2.
It's $1.98.
Could I say something?
Unmute. I'm sorry, who was that?
Mr. Widger.
I'm with you.
Tom Widger, go ahead.
I just think this expenditure we're talking almost $30,000. Why we can't have the town vote on it? I mean, it just seems like, yes, I mean, you people are doing the best job you can. But we need to keep the taxes down to a reasonable level. We can't be great if people are income sensitive, that's fine. But you can't unload it on the people that are residents. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Just before we go anywhere else, regarding the food service, Mickey did leave this survey that he did. It's in the tiniest print I've ever seen in my life. So I would like to have time to share this with Carolyn and Russ. He did a survey of the family, so I'd like to look into it further. And I'm only noting this because it's not off the table. It's just for right now until we really hammer out who's going to commit to this or not. So just so everybody knows, I did just receive this from Mickey before he left, and I'd like to share it with Carolyn and Russ and add it to just continue the conversation for February with that. So please don't think that this is off the table forever. It's just we're still trying to make some good decisions, no different than we are for the boiler. Okay, all right, let's.
You got Peter, then Howie, then.
Peter.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got double booked and I have to leave, but I think I got enough to get the rest of this from the recording, if that's okay. You do have the priority, so if you veto this, I will stay.
Nope, I think the other Peter here does a great job for BCTV, so he's giving me a thumbs up. Yeah, I think we'll be okay unless anybody else objects.
Thanks.
Great, you're out of here, Peter. Thank you very much. I see Abby Pelton and then Howard Iris. Go ahead, Abby.
Thank you. I just have another comment for anyone who's, concerned with where the budget can go and the vote in the town. So the parents group has been working very hard, and Bridget is an amazing leader. She's doing a fabulous job. We are working and trying to figure out, the best way to do, there's active efforts in trying to figure out how to raise money and create community, collaborative, events and ideas and all sorts of stuff that we're going to start implementing. So when we're talking futuristically and what's in the pipelines, with what Thomas had just mentioned of the community, not having the residents having to take on financial stuff, we can all work together in a very positive way to support the families of this community and get money from outside sources. There's ways that we can do that and make it really fun. So that's being worked on. So for people who are feeling really, apprehensive about stuff, just know that the parents are active and we're gonna continue to include more community members, and hopefully it just really grows into a beautiful thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Abby. Howard Iris. Howie, are you on?
He'll try again.
All right, you'll try again. We're not going anywhere, I don't think anytime soon. Great. I do want to speak to the parent group and the participation that's been happening the last few months. I know this is difficult for a lot of people, but the reality is the unknown is we don't know what this is going to cost without the school here. So please keep that in mind. We're trying to do our best. I know people understand that, but I don't think this is the time personally to give up when we do have this amazing group of young parents who are participating. So I feel like our budget's been supported over the last many years, and I'd like to just hope that that's going to continue until we've exhausted all possibilities. So I'm going to end with that. So from that, unless there's anybody else, Russ and Carolyn, what do you want to do? We're looking to
Well, I'm wondering if we could cut the music program, because we already have so much music for these kids with Sally. I think they get just tons of value out of that. I understand that not only are they doing the ukulele, but they're doing recorders now. So, that would bring the tax rate down 3.3 cents.
So one, I'll ask for anyone to speak to that, parents especially. Certainly, Laurie, if you could just take that out and see what that brings the tax rate to, please.
Sure, it's $1.98.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Sarah or David?
Good evening, everyone. So I heard it was what, $10,000 for the music program. Is that right, Laurie?
It is. Yes, correct.
Has that just been the budget line for however many years and hasn't dipped into that? Because Carolyn's right, there is the recorders and the ukuleles and everything they do with Sally, but is that just a buffer for extra, or is it actively being used? I don't know if what I'm trying to say is being expressed right.
So it was in the past a purchase service from WCSU. So WCSU has a music teacher that, you know, had gone around to different schools, but a couple of years ago, basically Windham decided to not do that and pursue music on their own. And so then last year it was provided, so they didn't use the budget for it, but the budget has been there in case they had to buy music services.
Okay, so it's something that could be cut or drastically reduced just to have like a little bit of a percentage just in case, and without losing what we already have.
That's my understanding with what's being provided right now. Whether that happens next year or not, you know, it remains to be seen. And if you know, the person that, I guess Sally, who's providing the music, decides not to next year, then you might have to go out and purchase somebody to purchase service, right? For somebody to come in to provide music lessons.
Right. And then if it was cut and we, for some reason, if Sally can't do it and then we had to fundraise, that's something that's a possibility then.
True. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Bridget Corby.
So I think from a parent's perspective, I can say that they're getting a ton of music through volunteers right now. So that was, this where she's talking to another. So I think that if that was something that you had to take away, I don't think the kids would be missing out pending both volunteers still volunteer, because they are doing a lot. If you were to take that $10,000 to lower the tax rate, could the board make a note, or just we all kind of remember and next year? I just would hate to see that in the future, money towards arts forever go away. So if tax rates are a little bit friendlier and down the road, can we get that back in?
Absolutely. I want to just say we had an amazing, aside from Sally, who's an amazing musician, we did have an amazing music teacher, Sarah Ullman, who Kate Ullman, who retired. So it's definitely been a big part of Windham, our music, singing and the rounds and everything else. So absolutely, I would never, ever condone that leaving our town or our school. Thank you for asking that and bringing that up. Anybody else? I'm trying to see hands. Did Howie ever get a chance to come back on?
Looks like Howie's on. He's just not able to unmute or something.
So do we want to?
We had a chat. Just saying. Wink, wink, Bill.
Do we want to take that 10,000 out then for music?
I would say yes.
I'm in agreement with that. Russ, what are your thoughts?
Do we have to take all 10,000? Can we take like 75% of it and keep some as a buffer, or is it the best choice here to take all of it out?
Oh, Bill, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think realistically, if there was 2,500 that was necessary next year, that the board could either find a way to encourage that money to be raised privately, or to find a way to take it from some surplus. So I think the cleanest would probably be the full 10. But I think it's a really good point, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. All right, so Laurie, can we do that, please? Take out the 10 grand for music.
Okay, it's done.
So what are we looking at?
$1.98.
Okay. All right, anything else from anybody before we make some decisions here? All right, so do we want to approve this budget?
I think it would be good if we could.
All right, I'll take a motion to approve the budget as set by Laurie Garland.
Well, Laurie, do you have the words?
Yeah, I'm going to give you the words.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the budget is $434,000.
All right, does anyone want to make a motion on that?
Well, I will move that we appropriate
$434,000 for the FY23 budget.
Can I get a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I'm opposed.
All those against? It's Russ? Okay.
Russ is opposed.
I got it, thank you. Okay, well, it passes.
So you guys,
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Who is going to prepare the warning language? Because I had an email from the auditors asking for that today.
that's usually your town clerk.
I would
You guys-
imagine, yeah, it's Mike McLean.
You bring over the number that you just approved, and Laurie can give you the other line that goes in the warning about the equalized pupils. You know that paragraph? Could you just send that to Beth, Laurie?
I sure can.
Great, thank you, and I will get in contact with Mike McLean, the town clerk.
There's other language about the salaries too, right?
It's the board members that the town votes to pay you guys. That's the,
And that language would not change because we're not getting a raise or anything.
right, it's the same.
Yeah.
The only other motion that you may want to consider is something that should be done is to move, and I can't remember if we did this last year. I'd have to look at your warning from last year, is to move any surplus, if any, into the capital fund, so that it's a little more protected, because you're supposed to use any surplus. You are supposed to use your surplus to buy down the tax rate in the following year. But by moving it into the reserve, then it protects it to be used for, you know, the boiler or anything that comes up like that. So
the reserve would be 50,000?
It's just whatever the surplus is.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have language for that too. I can send you.
Okay. Is this something we want the taxpayers, the voters to vote on?
Yes, they need to vote on that.
Okay, all right. That's not a motion we make now.
No,
You'll
that'll
send the
be
language. Okay.
right.
So you'll just send that to me also then?
Yes, I will.
Great, thank you, Laurie. Okay, anything else regarding the budget? All right, thank you for that. And again, I really appreciate everybody's participation. It's far more participation than we've had in a long time. So I hope we can continue to move forward, because it sounds to me like the kids are pretty happy here. Next is a new business. There was a discussion about the electric school bus petition. It was something that was brought to the select board. It's something that I've seen just through Leland and Gray, their environmental group, a petition going around about an electric school bus. I've gotten some good information from Michael Pelton. I don't know if he would like to speak to that, or anybody else that has something they want to add to that conversation. Nothing, I don't think there's anything being decided tonight. That sounds like a resounding no. Okay, so, oh, do I have somebody? All right, Michael, go ahead.
I don't know how many people caught it, but the select board voted to support the idea of an exploration into the idea of an electric school bus. I think it's prudent to look at it. I wouldn't say that the technology, from what I've heard anyway, I wouldn't say that the technology is exactly developed enough for our situation, but I think it's still prudent for the board to consider supporting the exploration into the idea anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I appreciate what you had to share regarding that. And perhaps at the February meeting, we can talk a little bit more about that and the things that you've learned, and anybody else that's interested in that discussion. All right, moving on then. We have warrant policies here.
Yep, so you have 8 policies. Again, this is just making sure that your policies are up to date. And so we are just rotating them through, either ones that have been passed a long time ago or ones that have been updated by the Vermont School Boards Association.
So we're just warning these policies. Do you want me to read through them, or do you want to read through
I
them?
think Carolyn has it.
Carol, you have it?
Yeah, I would move that we warn the following policies. C11, which is student freedom of expression. C12, prevention of sexual harassment as prohibited by Title IX. C29, Windham equity policy. D1, proficiency-based graduation requirements. D3, responsible computer, internet, and network use. D4, Title I comparability. D5, animal dissection. And D6, class size policy.
Okay, that needs a second, or?
It needs a second.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye. So if somebody could leave a note for Mickey, that it would be very helpful for me if he could make copies of these and to be posted, because I think they need to be posted in 3 locations.
Okay.
And I won't be home till Friday night, but I'll post them on Saturday.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sorry, Russ, were you an aye or a nay?
I don't see Russ.
Oh, okay.
I think he dropped off.
Oh, okay. Was that, I guess that's.
You're still born.
Great. All right, next is just update about town meeting, Australian ballot discussion. I heard from a select board member that the select board has chosen to have town meeting by Australian ballot. So my assumption is the school will follow suit, and we'll have to make sure that that is prepared by the town clerk. Anything else about that?
Do we have to make a motion, Bill, to have the town meeting by Australian ballot? I
mean, technically, I guess we're separate.
I think that would be the appropriate thing to cover yourself.
All right, Carol, you want to make that motion?
I'm not sure exactly what the motion is, but I would say that I would make a motion that we have town meeting by Australian ballot, and that we will, because it will be Australian ballot, we will warn an informational meeting 10 days, not more than 10 days prior to that. And while I'm speaking, while I have the floor, I would also say that it might make sense to have an informational meeting sooner rather than later, as well as the statutorily required one.
All right, do you have a calendar in front of you? Because I do not. Do you want to look at some dates?
Hold on a sec. So town meeting is it the 8th, guys?
Do it on the 15th. Your normal meeting.
So Bill's suggesting we just do the informational meeting on the 15th at our regular next board meeting.
Sounds perfect.
Okay.
But then, Carolyn, correct, you also need one within 10 days.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If we had an info meeting on Saturday, the 26th,
You're
again,
welcome to have it, but just know that Laurie and I won't be there. We're never there, so it's okay. We'll be there.
No. Well, usually you are at the meeting.
Not on a weekend.
Well, usually we have the meeting on one of our meeting days, but in order to meet the requirement to have it at least 10 days before the 8th, the 26th is the drop dead date, so we have to have it some other time.
All right, so you want to say Saturday, February 26th at 10 a.m. here at the school and on Zoom?
Okay, but keep in mind that Laurie and Bill will not be there.
But we'll be with bells on the 15th, man. We will be awesome.
So we'll push
Wait a minute, can I interrupt?
Yes.
I don't know how to wave my hand.
Oh, hi Gail, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Isn't town meeting on March 1st or 2nd?
It's on the 1st, you're correct, the 26th.
Oh,
Right.
it's the first. I thought it was the second Tuesday.
No,
Sorry about
and
that.
so, and also, I think the select board is having their meeting on the 26th. I'm not sure.
So right after. Perfect.
So it would be the 19th. That would be the statutorily required meeting, but we could have it on the we'll have our regular meeting on the 15th, right?
Yes.
But then we're gonna have to have some kind of meeting within 10 days of the 1st.
Can we just do it I mean, I'm not opposed to a Saturday, but is there just another Tuesday evening? I thought we've always done an informational meeting on a Tuesday.
Yeah,
Monday or Tuesday.
well, you could do it on the 22nd.
All right, why don't we do that?
Okay,
Great, so same time, we'll just do 2:15, 2:22 at 6 PM. One a regular meeting, one an informational meeting. Will you be available on the 22nd, you or Laurie?
Laurie will be available on the 22nd. Laurie is not available on the 15th, so.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you. Yes.
And you'll be on the 15th?
I will be there on the 15th.
Dynamite, so 1-to-1, great.
okay, and as part of this motion, the town meeting will be by Australian ballot on March 1st from 10 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock in the evening at the polling place.
Yep, good motion.
Okay.
Okay, I'll
Hold
send.
on.
Oh, sorry, Laurie. Oh, Laurie's waving feverishly.
Um,
Sarah,
the
I see you too. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Laurie.
Okay, I have the 22nd as Marlboro's informational meeting.
Okay.
I'm not sure I 100% need to be there, but I will need to find out.
Okay.
What date is that? The 22nd?
22nd. So Laurie, is there another day, just like the 23rd, anything else that we could switch this now before, instead of going back to it?
Yeah, I'm 23rd, 24th are fine.
All right, Carolyn, 23rd, 24th, or anybody else that wants to weigh in?
I have a meeting, a regularly scheduled meeting on Wednesdays that frequently go until 6.
All right, do you want to do the 24th?
Sure.
The Thursday? Are you okay with that, Laurie?
I am free on the 24th of February.
All right, so we are, Carolyn, changing your motion to the 2:15 and 2:24.
Yep.
For the informational meeting.
Yep. And the 24th will be the statutorily required one. The 15th will be our regular meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I'll second that. I'm sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
All right, so as you know, Althea says hi. As you know, I can't vote, but David wasn't sure, so I'll ask on behalf of him. What is actually going to be on the ballot?
The ballot will be the budget. It will be somebody running for school board. There will be language about the school board salaries, and there will be additional language that Laurie referenced that enables us to take the surplus and put it into the capital fund.
Okay.
Is there something else, Laurie, that I'm missing?
That's all I'm aware of right now.
Yeah.
And we'll meet again on the 15th. I know sometimes these ballots can seem a little bit confusing, so we can continue to have this discussion. Did you have something?
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Good? Okay. Okay, so I'm sorry. I seconded that motion. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Australian ballot it is, and we have our date set Our next regular meeting, February 15th, our informational meeting required by law, February 24th at 6 p.m. Okay, other business.
I have none.
I don't have anything. Public comment opportunity.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I seem to be having a hard time sending emails with my I don't know what the word is, everything that I said at the school board meeting on the Saturday in August. So I was wondering if I could do it like in a video or some kind of something, or does it have to be like handwritten in text? Like, would I be able to do some kind of audio and that would suffice for my contribution to the school board meeting in August?
So I'm trying to put together a kind of a recreation of that meeting because the recording was so botched.
Sure.
And I'm wondering, I can't exactly do that without transcribing what you say.
Okay.
So if you could think about what you're going to say and write it down and send it to me.
Okay.
That would be fantastic.
I might even be able to like verbalize it to my laptop and have my laptop do it for me. That might be easier.
That would be fantastic.
Okay. Thank you, Carolyn.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none. Again, our next regular meeting is February 15th. I will be reaching out to Mike McLean regarding the language. Laurie's going to send me some information to do that. I will speak to MPJ about making copies of the policies so that we can warn them. And then we have our informational meeting on February 24th at 6 p.m. Unless there's anything else. Crystal, I'm sorry, go ahead. I see your hands up.
I was just wondering if Bill knew when he was going to ask the school boards to give him a decision on the intra-district choice.
Oh, good.
I thought we did that.
Windham has already indicated that they are interested in participating.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was just discussed at Windham.
Well, once we go to the WCSU and the WCSU directs me to contact an attorney and actually draw up a document, it'll have to come back to the boards to have permission to sign, because the boards are saying, yeah, we're interested in this idea, but they have to have something in front of them that they're actually committing to.
Okay, thank you.
Great. No, thank you, Crystal, because I can honestly, we have discussed that, and we've all decided that we're for it. So, but it's good to keep it on the radar amongst all the other things. So, great. Thank you. Unless there's anything else, this is your last chance. This is your last chance tonight. Anytime you have something to say, please feel free to contact anybody on the board or Bill or Laurie. They're always happy to hear from you. So, no, you are.
You bet.
Yes.
I would move adjournment.
All right, we'll adjourn at 7:27. Thank you very much.